I was hoping to make this wig in 3 weeks, but I've been working for it for a month now, and it'll probably take me another month. Hi everyone, this is Wit and Read speaking, and my name is Eleon, and today I will tell you about Dehya's wig. And before we start, sorry for my pronunciation of Dehya's name, cause I play Genshin not in English, and in my native language her name sounds like Dehya, so you can guess my native language. This is the first part, and I'll tell you about the frame. On the wig you can also see the finished ears and a hooch, but I will talk about them in the second part, and we will talk about the tail in the third part. I made this wig in collaboration with Kulia. She sent me the wig for styling. Check out her accounts and her shop. I really love her wigs and her styling. And I also posted the unboxing on my TikTok account, and I suggest you to watch it.
Gloves off!
Firstly, for such a complex frame wig, one base is not enough, and so I ordered the wig with similar color on AliExpress. And I started my work on this wig with crimping. You just can't imagine how long it was, because the wig was so huge. The volume of hair even before crimping was very enormous. So I spent 2 evenings crimping, and I was already tired at this stage. I crimped small strands in a very standard way. I simply went over the strands at different angles 2 or 3 times, then cooled the strands and combed them. And well, after 2 evenings of suffering, I finally finished crimping. And if you are interested in learning a little about my materials, I use this device. It doesn't matter what brand it is. For crimping, it's better to use a wide one. This will help reduce the time spent working on the wig. And it's even better to use devices with a large number of small waves. This will help make the crimping less noticeable. And I usually crimp at a temperature of 190 degrees.
You're dead meat!
And after crimping, I started cutting hair. And it's very important. I didn't cut everything. This wig have an imitation of hair growth. You can see it on the inside out wig. I didn't cut hair from this place, and I didn't cut the bangs. By the way, on the inside out wig, the imitation of hair growth on the wig is not sewn on the center, and it's absolutely okay. It's not a back, it's fisher. And now I'll show you how I cut the hair. I did this in small strands, and I coated the ends of strands with glue. I did this so that the hair wouldn't fall apart, and I didn't cut the entire length of hair. I left a couple of centimeters. This made it easier for me to work on the frame, and the trimmed wig looks something like that. And now we will move on to the frame. And styling of the frame wig has one very important difference from styling a non-frame wig. You can style non-frame wig on hands that's not very suitable for you, but styling frame wigs with non-suitable heads is a direct path to failure, because if you make a wig on the smaller head, it simply won't fit on you. My head for styling is about 54 centimeters round. For my project, that's not enough, and so with the help of padding polyester and food film, I built up additional volume, and only after that I continue working on my wig. And after that I coated all my wig with clear glue. This made it easier for me to work on next steps. And then I coated the cup with hot glue. I squeezed hot glue directly onto the wig and then spread it. I applied hot glue in 2 or 3 layers and decided that it's enough for me. After gluing, the frame had to be strengthened. I decided to use the aluminum wire as an additional part of the frame. I decided to make a frame with 2 halves and bend the wire like this. And then with a glue gun I attached my wire to the wig. And after that it was a time to think about how the tail would be attached to the wig. To do this I quickly made 2 cylinders in blender that would fit inside each other and printed them in a couple of hours. And then I attached 1mm wire, like octopus legs, to a smaller cylinder, and it looks something like this. And then I threaded them through the wig, if possible, and glued them with a ton of hot glue. At this point the frame became absolutely unbending, and before styling it was necessary to cover the wig with padding polyester, of course to remove all the unevenness from the glue and from the wire. I glued the padding polyester in pieces using this glue, and here is the result I got.
Gloves off!
And then it was time to glue the hair. Basically I glued the hair in 2 layers, bottom and top. The purpose of the bottom layer is simply cover padding polyester, and I glue the hair off this layer with glue gun. There is nothing complicated in gluing bottom layer. It's quite fast. The most difficult part begins on the top layer. Here I use only transparent glue and hairspray. One of the biggest difficulty is creating a normal edge. On this wig, because of huge bangs, because of huge ears, and because of huge tails, the edge is almost not visible at all. And I made very simple edge from little spikes like this, and it suited me perfectly. And I also tried to glue the top layer so that it would have some kind of texture, a division into strands at least, so that the wig doesn't look like heads of girls from swimming team. And well, after gluing it was possible to add braids. Dehya has 2 on the side, and I'll tell you right away, I'm complete zero in braids. I'm sure there are better methods, but now I'll tell you about how I suffered. I started with a small braid and braided it very simply, and then I tried to add volume to it. The braid had to be wide, but not thick, to look good on the wig, and I just pulled it apart a little bit. Then I steamed it to set the shape and fix it with hairspray. I'll say it right away, this method is not very good, at least at my implementation. Yes, I got it more or less okay, but still not perfect. And of course I make the big braids the same way. I prepared brown strands and yellow strands and glued it together, and then I braided like a regular braid, and I glued these braids to the wig with my glue gun. During the gluing process I also styled the wig bangs in parallel. I don't have much to say there, because I use basic techniques. I just took a steamer, a hairspray, and slowly styled small elements. But if you're still interested in process, I'll insert a couple of time lapses, and here they are. And a small insert about the devices I use for styling. First of all, steamer. I use a steamer like this one, and I just bought a medium priced one on Amazon, and it's absolutely okay for me. About hairspray. I use this hairspray and it's very common among wig makers. And glue. I know that many wig makers use Yoo-hoo glue, but I think that glue from henna can also be used. It works well, I checked. And and of course a pair of scissors and a pair of combs. And well, actually, after all these manipulations, I've got a result. And now the first part of the Dehya's wig comes to an end. Be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next parts. And bye bye!